Wondering what was going on there. But alright. We're live, ladies and germs. I've been waiting for the race reference to update to where they have the loop data for the green flag passes. It has not been updated, and I got other stuff that I want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and get this review done. But this race was a curiosity, to say the least. On the verge, we were on the verge of having a short track race go, for all intents and purposes, caution free. So Noah Gragson and Daniel Suarez had to go and ruin that. Cat, come on, get out of the way, butthead. But yeah, was this race the greatest race in the world? No. Was it inherently terrible? Not really. I mean, it was about the most pure race that we've had all year. And yeah, it was boring, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. I'm going to be getting into all that because there was somebody who tweeted saying, well, if you thought this race was boring, then you don't know what you want. I'm going to be getting to that in a minute because that inherently pissed me off. So let's get into it. This is the fuel. This video is sponsored by Dubby Jitterless Energy Blend. Click on the link in the description and use the code PackerMan to save 10% on any order. This video is sponsored by Dubby Jitterless Energy Blend. Click on the link in the description and use the code PackerMan to save 10% on any order. See, I'm already fucking shit up before we even get into the damn review. But, anywho, what's happening, ladies and germs? It's the PackerMan, and welcome to this edition of the Fuel live review of the Fuel, where this edition we're going to be talking about the 2023 Cookout 400 from the Richmond Raceway. Now, here's the thing that I kind of want to talk about. If you enjoyed this race, more power to you. I mean, this race was pretty uninteresting from my point of view, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because not every race is going to be the greatest in the world. That's obvious. Was this race bad or awful or terrible or just a complete pile of trash? No, it was not. It was boring. I thought it was boring for a lot of this race, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, because I would rather see a pure race that is boring as hell than watch, say, a total crash fest that has like a competitive finish. Like, yeah, the finish was good at least, and everybody just overrated to hell because of the finish. No, I can't stand fucking crash fests. I mean, it just makes the series look like a joke. Conversely, when you have races like this, where it's just super clean and green, and it looked like it was going to be a caution-free race. I don't count the stage breaks. It's looking like we were going to have a caution-free race on a short track, which is unthinkable. But then Noah Gragson decided to once again fucking lose talent and wreck Daniel Suarez, or maybe Suarez got loose. I don't know. I really don't give a fuck at this point. Either way, it caused a late yellow, and it's like, we were about to have a caution-free race, and we have that shit happen. But there was a user on Twitter, and it fucking pissed me off because it's just irritating. Because, I mean, obviously he thought the race was enjoyable, which that's fine. That's his opinion. If you enjoy, like I said, if you enjoyed the race, more power to you. And I thought the race was not that enjoyable. And if you want to disagree with me, that's fine. We can have a conversation. But people who do this shit, people who thought this race was boring are lying to themselves. It was not a boring race. If you thought it was boring, then you have no idea what you want. So I responded back, so no one is allowed to have an opinion on a random ass race then? And you wonder why you get attacked, because he penned a tweet about him basically losing his shit, about him being attacked because he has an opinion. No, you're getting attacked because you tweet out dumb shit. And I said, you wonder why you get attacked, maybe it's because you put out dumbass tweets like this one. People want what they want. What's so goddamn hard to understand about that? That fucking irritates me to the highest order. If you want to disagree with my opinion on a fucking race, fine. More power to you. It is what it is. Don't ever fucking assume you know what I want. I want what I want. And I've stated that I don't know how many times on this fucking show. Don't ever fucking assume you know what I want. And don't ever fucking speak for me. That fucking pisses me off to the nth degree. Just wanted to get that off my chest because that fucking boiled my piss. But anyways, all that aside, there are some other things that I wanted to talk about real quick that's happened over like the past month or two. Besides what happened in the race today. First of all, Ross Chastain, who's, kind of been, seems like he's in the middle of a summer slump right now. It's not all bad because, after his big victory at Nashville, he actually got a new sponsor. Anheuser-Busch put out a tweet that had a watermelon rolling across, and then it had a Busch can appear after it. And one of three things came to mind at that point. Either they were sponsoring Ross Chastain, they were making a new watermelon flavored Busch beer like they've done with apple and peach, or it was a combination of the two. Ended up being the first thing. Busch is going to be sponsoring Chastain, and they will be leaving Stewart-Haas Racing at the conclusion of this season, which is a massive blow for Stewart-Haas because, they've been really struggling the past couple of seasons. Harvick, I'm honestly surprised Harvick doesn't have fucking back problems with how much he's carried that team the past couple of years. But is it a surprise? Not really. Harvick is retiring at the end of the year, and Josh Berry, he's had some good runs, but he's kind of an unproven talent as far as the Cup Series is concerned. So instead of sponsoring him, even though he's a good prospect, they're going to go to Chastain, who's a lot more marketable, a bit of a rock star, and that's a big win for Trackhouse. But a story that kind of caught a lot of people's attention was the announcement that Justin Haley is going to be leaving Kaulig and is moving over to Rick Ware Racing. He has signed a multi-year deal with Rick Ware Racing. Now, granted, RWR does have an alliance with Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing, but this is a very curious move by Haley. I don't know. It feels like a completely random move by him. It kind of confused me. But, it is what it is. I mean, he hasn't really been doing all that well at college either. But that's just how I look at things. Will he do better over there? Will he do worse? Only time will tell. But the big news that came out recently was, you all know that the broadcasting rights for NASCAR are coming up at the end of 2024. Well, for the Xfinity Series at least, they have found a new home. The entirety of the Xfinity Series for 7 years. They've inked a 7-year deal with the CW. I honestly thought it was a prank at first. CW? Really? But then everybody started reporting. I'm like, oh wow, this is actually for real. Yeah, the CW will be getting exclusive broadcast rights to the NASCAR Xfinity Series beginning in 2025, and it is a 7-year deal. All right. I mean, hey, that's kudos to the CW. I mean, I don't know how the hell they managed to snag the Xfinity Series. And there have been also talks about the Xfinity Series going to exclusively streaming platform, because streaming has been the big thing. But NASCAR decided to not go that route, at least exclusive streaming. And I guess they've inked a deal with the CW beginning in 2025. So, hey, more power to them. Sounds like both sides are happy with the deal. And you know what? That's the most important thing. At the very least, that just means that we now know where the CW or where the Xfinity Series is going to be broadcast. Because there's been a lot of times where, NASCAR is on one channel or the other when it comes to Fox Sports or NBC Sports. Having one channel to go to, it just makes it a lot less of a headache for sure. Instead of trying to figure out, oh, where the fuck is the Xfinity race or the truck race, the Cup race? What channel is it on? Is it on USA? Is it on NBC? Is it on one of these other channels that we don't, where the fuck it is? So, at the very least, the Xfinity Series is going to have, well, for the next 7 years, at least starting in 2025, a semi-permanent home with the CW. I'm door dashing something, and apparently the place I'm door dashing doesn't have my fucking drink, because of course not. Irritating. But hey, yeah, congrats to the CW on landing the Xfinity Series. Be interesting to see how all that turns out. And still no loop data. Has tech inspection been completed? Not seeing anything about tech inspection. So there's that. Well, Bob Pockris hasn't tweeted anything about tech inspection, so it hasn't been completed yet. So fuck it. Let's go ahead and get into the race review. So, like I said, it was actually a pretty quick race. Time of the race was just a shade over 3 hours, which for a 400 lap race at Richmond, it's actually not bad. Actually went by fairly quickly. And it wasn't like a 4 hour or 5 hour long, just like snooze fest. It's like, ugh. So for the most part, it went by fairly quickly. But Tyler Reddick started from the pole. He led lap 1. Back in the pack, there was some 3-wide racing. Truex got sent up the track by Ricky Stenhouse. Just looked like, an accident on that part. So I'm not going to shit on Ricky Stenhouse, at least this time. Dickhead, which is Denny Hamlin. That's what I'm going to refer to him as from this point forward. God, I can't stand that guy. Starts challenging Reddick for the race lead. Bubba Wallace moves up to third and challenges Dickhead for second. Tyler Reddick wins stage number 1. I mean, it was a short 70-lap stage. Nothing really happened. We had pit stops. Reddick maintains the lead. So he leads the start of stage 2. Wallace gets the lead on the restart. Elliott moves up to third. He looked good early on. But he didn't really... he wasn't really a factor near the end of this race. Keselowski gets by Elliott for third, and Dickhead gets by Elliott for fourth. Eric Almirola up to fifth by Elliott. Ryan Preece kicks off green flag stops on lap 122. By the way, shout out to Ryan Preece. I know I have been exceptionally hard on him the past couple years because of his dumb shit and how he's basically being a fucking ragehead. But I'll give credit where credit is due. I mean, he put together one hell of a performance. Cat, quit. No. You quit that. You quit. But anyways. Wow. You quit the fighting. But Preece actually did a damn good job today. And honestly, he needed it because up to this point, he didn't have a single top 10 finish this year. And there was a lot of hype with him coming onto that 41 car, and it's just been a disaster this year. Cat, quit rubbing your head against items that are not bolted down. Lord have mercy. Anyways. Wallace, who was in the lead, who actually got the lead on the restart at the start of stage 2. He pits from the lead on lap 123. There were actually 2 pit road penalties on this round of stops. Almirola, who had actually worked his way up to the top 5, got a commitment line violation, and Christopher Bell got hit with a speeding penalty entering pit road. McDowell and Truex end up trying a one-stop strategy. Wallace cycles back around to the race lead. Reddick and Keselowski were both catching Wallace for the lead. Keselowski gets by Reddick for second. And then we had the second round of pit stops, as there were a lot of drivers. Pretty much the entire field was doing the two-stopper. Ty Gibbs and Alex Bowman kick off the next round of pit stops on lap 173, like before Wallace pits from the lead one lap later, but has trouble on his pit stop as the jack kind of malfunctioned, and that slowed his pit stop down, and he pretty much lost the lead and was never a factor for the lead again after that. So Keselowski cycles back with the race lead. Hamlin gets by, or Dickhead, sorry, gets by Wallace for fourth. At this point, it's just kind of like, yeah, not very exciting at this point. But you have RFK cars running first and third, with Buescher running third. Buescher gets by Reddick for second, and Keselowski wins stage number 2. So you had the 2311 guys finish 1 2 in stage 1, and then you have the RFK guys finishing 1 and 2 in stage 2. It's like, okay. But at this point, I'm like, a race is kind of boring when the most exciting thing has been a battle between Larson and Bowman for the free pass. Like I said, it's not necessarily a bad thing. There wasn't any dumb shit up to this point. No controversy or anything of that nature, and more importantly, no cautions. It's a nice, pure race. I mean, like I said, I'd rather see a boring, pure race than, an exciting fucking crash fest, because the crash fest makes the series look like an amateur, makes it look like amateur hour. Whereas a race like this made these drivers actually look like fucking proper drivers. So we have pit stops. Keselowski maintains the race lead for the start of stage 3. Dickhead around the outside of Bubba for 4th. Jones kind of puts Cindric into the wall for turn 4, a little bit of rubbing. Buescher on Kez's bumper for the race lead. Green flag pit stops begin on lap 285. Keselowski ended up having an awkward turn into his pit box. The front tires actually locked up, so he couldn't turn the car. So he kind of had an awkward entry into his pit box. It was legal, though. You're allowed to have the right rear tire outside the pit box as long as the other 3 tires are in, which they were. So it was a legal pit stop. It was just not a good one. And he lost a lot of track position. Actually ended up back in 6th, and I think that's where he actually finished. Truex's crew decided to go for the one-stop strategy, which honestly they could afford to do. I mean, they have 3 wins this year, so they could afford to do that. Wallace and Priest battle for the 4th position. Buescher gets by Truex for the lead, who was on an alternate strategy, so no pure lead change here because it was differing pit strategies. One's on new tires, one's on old tires. So at this point, Buescher has a 4.7 second lead. Truex comes in with 88 laps to go for his final scheduled stop of the day. Ryan Preece moves up to 3rd. Easily the best run of the season for him in that 41 team. Keselowski kicks off the final round. Green flag stops with 64 laps to go. Buescher pits from the lead with 62 laps to go. And Reddick, who came in running 2nd, has a commitment line violation. He was running good, his team was doing good, and the driver screws it up. No excuse on that one. So Buescher reassumes the lead over Truex, who is still on the one-stopper. And Buescher eventually stretches it out to like a 5-6 second lead. And it's looking like it's going to be a pretty meh into this race, but at least it goes caution-free. And then Noah Gragson proves that maybe he's not ready for the Cup level yet, because we have our one and only caution on lap 390. We're literally 10 fucking laps from a caution-free race, and Noah Gragson spins Daniel Suarez in turn 4, or Daniel Suarez got loose. I couldn't really fucking tell. It looked like Gragson got into him, but either way, you have guys not even in fucking contention, not even on the lead lap, causing a fucking caution. I mean, what in the actual fuck? And I'm like, oh great, now we're going to get stupid bullshit to end this race. So Buescher leads with 3 laps to go. Hamlin was trying his damnedest to get to him, and his crew even said, don't take the outside because Hamlin will do to you what he did to Larson the previous week. Yeah, I don't think the other teams weren't paying attention to that. But man, I swear to God, if Hamlin would have stolen this race, I would have thrown something through the fucking TV. I really would have. And this race would have gotten a 0, because from this point forward, if Hamlin, this may not seem fair to you people, but I don't care at this point. If Hamlin wins a race from this point forward, the race automatically gets a 0. I can't stand the motherfucker, and any race that he wins, just I can't ever watch or recommend ever again because he has his fucking stink on it. That's just how I feel. But thankfully, Buescher holds Hamlin at bay to win the race at Richmond and get his 3rd career win. 2 on short tracks, and he's locked into the playoffs. Of course, he was pretty much in on points at this point because he's been running pretty decent all year, and now he gets a victory to kind of seal the deal on that run. So that's pretty much it. I mean, not really much else to say beyond that. Race stats has... I'm going to take one last look. Nope. Fuck it. I'm not going to do the green flag passes, so it's whatever. There were 18 lead changes during this race, but I think pretty much most of them were during the green flag during green flag pit stops. There were 0 pure lead changes during this race. 1 caution at the very least. Brad Keselowski led the most laps. He led 102 laps on the day. So that's pretty much it. Not really much else to say more than that. It was not a great race, but you know, it is what it is. But my final rating for the Cookout 400 at Richmond is a 4 out of 10. Like I said, pretty unremarkable, but it wasn't inherently, terrible. It didn't have all the stupid bullshit that we typically see with NASCAR races that are just absolute garbage fests. So at least there's that. But that's going to do it for this edition of The Fuel. Thank you very much for watching. And until next time, this is the PackerMan signing out. See you later. What's happening, ladies and germs? Thank you for watching tonight's video. If you're interested in sponsoring the channel, there is a link to my Patreon down in the description box below. Otherwise, hit like and subscribe if you want to continue watching great content like you saw today. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, this is the PackerMan signing out.